Welcome everybody. That's my first time, I think, doing the announcements. So here we go. Saturday, October 15, Spooky Cemetery Field Trip at the Pinewood Cocoa Plum Cemetery. We were there last year. It's a great place. Parking can be a little iffy, but we really had no problem parking. And
just don't park, don't block anybody's driveway.
Yes, don't block anybody's driveway. The people are very nice. It's very high-end neighborhood, but we found out they were a lot nicer than we thought they were going to be.
I never saw anybody.
Oh, I talked to a bunch of people. You always do. Are you going to bring any? Okay, so it may just be photographs of the cemetery. We could do some motion blur, stuff like that. But right now we don't have anything planned like we did last year with models and lights and all that stuff. So, huh?
You can be your own models.
Exactly.
You don't really have to show yourself.
Well, we did it. We really did it really up last year. So I just don't want people thinking it's going to be the exact same thing.
Yeah.
This is going to be. You're going to have to be a little bit more creative.
It may happen. You can dress up. Then don't be the
Exactly. Oh, you know me. I'm a ham.
Bring a flashlight because that place is dark.
Yes.
We're not going to be there that long.
Yeah, you never know.
There at all.
You never know.
An airplane.
All right, so hope to see you there. Wednesday, October 19th, that is Frame It in the style of Nan Goldin. Okay, I know that you people are looking at the book. Some of you don't care for it, but it really is either Nan Goldin or family photographs because she's famous for photographing her own family. So it can be your own creative photograph of your family or at an event. Should show some emotion. Okay? Any questions so far? Saturday, October 22nd, Walkabout, Art of Seeing, Gate 3, Long Pylon Key Trail. Okay, at what time?
It says on the website.
Okay, check the website for time.
Check the website for everything.
Check the website for everything. That's right, I have not given a single time for any of this. Saturday, October 29, Photo Finish, How to Create Ghostly Images in Photoshop. So there we go. We can take some photos and then manipulate them. And the lovely Barbara will be able to teach us all this. The curmudgeon Barbara will teach us to make. That makes you happy. In November, we have Wednesday, November 2nd, meeting History of the Photography Series. Oh, that's me. That will be Richard Avedon and Sebastiano Salgado. They're insanely good. Salgado, to me, just top of the list. And I've seen his actual photographs. Impressive. That one, it's him. I will tell you that. Salgado's photos, it's not his name. It is the photographs he takes. They're all stunning. Saturday, November 5th, field trip, Flamingo Garden. Where's Flamingo Garden?
Flamingo Road and just north of Sterling.
Okay, in Broward. And Saturday, November 12th, photo finish to be announced. Later, walkabout. How's that possible? Or later in the day?
November only has a few Saturdays and I got none to spare, so we're going to pile on that. So you can get me in the morning on Zoom and then you can do the walkabout in the afternoon.
And then November 16 is Frame It to be announced. I haven't decided what it's going to be. Yeah, in the style of Sebastiano Salgado, I would like to see that. He's tough. But no, we're not going to do that. And then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, November 18th through the 20th, Dupuy Campsite. Camp out. Okay? Please RSVP to whatever you're going. It really helps for us to plan and know what's happening. Any questions? Good. Okay. So tonight we're going to be talking about Julia Margaret Cameron, Dorothea Lang, Nan Goldin, and a bonus one at the end. Okay? Okay, Julia Margaret Cameron. Okay, sometimes you have to look at this in the perspective of the time that we're talking about. She was born in 1815, okay, in Calcutta, British India. Died January 26, 1879, okay? So she's definitely doing what women aren't supposed to be doing, okay? Basically, her style, which is their pre-Raphaelites and pictorialism, is basically, they were trying to imitate paintings into photographs. So the idea is to recreate those photographic style, those painting style images into a photograph, to elevate it to what we considered art. So at this point it's still considered, and actually even now sometimes it's considered a craft over an art form.
Is that what pictorialism means?
Yeah, like a picture painting, yeah. Okay, considered the first great woman in the history of photography. Okay, started at the age of 48 after raising 6 children. I'm amazed that she had the energy after 6 children. Okay, Cameron was intensely aware that she was an artist, and this is important. She considered herself an artist. Okay, and sort of like fake it till you make it kind of mentality. You have to think of your work as art, trying ultimately to expose the emotional internal lives of her sisters.
Sitters.
Huh?
Sitters.
Sitters? Oh, sitters. Sorry. Sitters. I was saying sisters. I don't remember her taking photographs of her sisters. Cameron used a soft focus. I don't know if that was even that difficult at that time, a soft focus. Okay? Shadows as devices to highlight the more magical and ethereal aspects of human existence. And we're going to look at some of her photographs. Okay, this is one of her first photos. She says, Cameron was so happy with the results of the sittings. She remembers she was in a transport of delight. I ran all over the house to search for gifts for the child. Sounds like one of us. We're so excited. Oh my God, it's so good. It's an albumin print from wet collodium glass negatives. It's a mouthful, okay? But this is something you got to understand. At that time, you didn't go to the grocery store and pick up some film. She was making her own negatives, making her own paper, and developing herself. Albumin is made with egg whites. Okay? So besides being a great photographer, she was also basically a chemist and experimented with these chemicals. So puts her at a completely different level.
Been a chicken farmer too.
Wouldn't be surprised. Actually, she was hanging around very affluent, well-to-do people. To be honest with you, I'm not sure, but I'm speculating just from what I know about history. If she was able to do this at the age of 48, it's because she comes from wealth. Normally in 1840-something, let's say, when she was doing this, or 1850, a woman was trying to clean the house, do the laundry, take care of her husband, take care of the kids, and put food on the table. They wouldn't have the time. Actually, that goes also for men. All these great explorers and everything is because they come from money. They had the leisure to be able to do this.
Did she live in India the whole time?
No, she didn't.
Celia, that's...
Oh, okay. Time to press and go again. Oh, wait a minute. No, it isn't.
I got time. Don't worry.
Okay.
We've got 20 minutes, 10 minutes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So this was one of her first work. Very happy of it. Okay. The photograph is called Mayday. And again, this is like a diptych. The Beloved, the Bride by Dante Gabriel Rossetti. Those two, the photograph and the painting, came out about the same time. It is speculated, since she was friends with him, that she saw this before it was released, the painting. and she decided to make it her own. I mean, it's you can see definitely a resemblance of her photos. Let me see if I have more photos of her on. Okay, of course I do. And actually, we see a lot of these photos now. The children with the little cherub wings and all this stuff. She did it first. Plain and simple. She did it first. But she also, most of them, there's a sadness in their face, and she did that on purpose. You know, longing to fly, but sadness in the knowledge that we are all earthbound. And then she also did a whole series of photos. These are, to give you an idea, she was well-to-do. In 1875, Cameron illustrated Idyllis of the King and other poems by Alfred Lord Tennyson, who at time was her neighbor on the Isles of Wight. Okay, so she did, on these poems, she also did series of doing Bible scenes that she posed them and photographed them, and she has a whole series on Bible stories that she photographed. And in some of these cases, these are all family and friends and neighbors and whoever she could get to pose. Okay? So now when you see all these cute little babies with wings and everything, you can thank Julia. Julia, no, what am I saying? I got the names. I got it right. I am so terrible with names, people, you have no idea. So when I get it right, I'm surprised, okay? And Barbara reminds me all the time. Any questions on Julia? What do you think of her work?
I love it.
You know?
I mean, just for someone to get a hold of that kind of equipment back then, that wasn't very popular.
Oh, by the way.
She must have been doing this in England, right?
Yes. Now get this. Her negatives were 10. She started with negatives of 10 by 11 glass sheets.
Pilar's outside. She said that the door is open.
She can. It's not locked. Pilar. Wrong door.
Sorry. Pero siempre era por aquí.
Sí. Oh, no, ahora. Hace...
Oh, tenemos uno más chiquito.
Sí, ahora no, pasa por allá, es más fácil.
Okay. Sorry.
I'm back. Okay. Now,
She had to have been wealthy to be able to have camera equipment and stuff at that time.
she lived next to aristocrats. She knew artists. She actually was respected more by the artists, painters of her time than photographers. You know, why is it? Was it because she was a woman? 1874, 1875, wouldn't surprise me. I don't know if women were even allowed to own property at that time in England. I'll double check on that one.
No, they were. It was difficult.
No.
They willed the property. Yeah.
I think there were.
I watch a lot of, stuff from the Pride and Prejudice days. About the Regency period.
Okay.
They could.
So,
it was difficult, but they could.
no, I was saying her negatives were 12 by 11 pieces of glass that she made into the negatives. She eventually upgraded to a 12 by 15. Okay? So, I mean, and it's glass. You know, you don't forget your negatives that way. Where did you put them? So, I love her work. You don't hear much about her. I said, we'll consider first great woman photographer. Then we have Dorothea Lang, which a lot of people are aware of and heard of. She was born May 26, 1895. 1895. I didn't realize it was that far back when she was born. Hoboken, New Jersey. Died October 11th, 1965 in San Francisco, California. Movement and style, modern photography, straight photography, documentary photography. And I guess she made her living as a photographer for newspapers, and so she was a photojournalist. No. Many of Lang's documentary photographs borrowed techniques from the lexicon of modernism, dramatic angles, and dynamic composition to produce startling and often jarring images of her subject. Okay. Funny thing is, probably her most famous photograph is pretty much a straight photograph. Okay? But we're going to see a couple of her works. Lang's mature work proved that work of art and documents are not mutually exclusive, and that they can be combined to produce beautiful and moving images. She saw herself first as a journalist and second as an artist, and she worked with a burning desire to effect social change by informing the public of the suffering far away. And definitely she did that. There she is, and wearing some kind of sneakers, huh?
Saddle shoes.
Converse.
Converse.
Chuck, what is it? What's the guy's name on the Converse? Chuck. Okay, so these are some of her quotes. Okay, bring the viewer to your side. Include him in your thoughts. He is not a bystander. You have the power to increase his perception and conception. In other words, don't take your sitter or your subject matter for granted. Okay, take him, the person, him, she, it into consideration. It is, especially she's doing documentary photography. She's dealing with people that are poor, that are suffering. Don't take a photograph to exploit them, and I think that's what she's trying to say.
She said viewer.
Bring the viewer to your side, including... Okay.
Not the subject.
Still the same. You have the power to increase the... how about that? I misread that. Stop reading. But I still will say the same thing.
I agree, though.
I still say the same thing. This is not enough. It is not enough to photograph the obviously picturesque. Okay? We all love to photograph the beautiful. Okay? We need to photograph stuff that isn't pretty. Okay? And it's a matter of... And it can be art. You know, I use the term, it's like pretty art. I call it sort of like a second level. Ugly art, art that makes you think, art that actually photographs, that actually pushes the boundary. That is art. The picturesque is art also. But, there's stuff, and she was very much a by-the-book photographer, except for the harsh angles, okay? The angles of her photograph that you haven't seen yet, okay?
I didn't hear what you said.
And I got a frog in my throat today. The camera is an instrument that teaches people how to see without a camera. And I love that. I love that because we take photographs and say, I never noticed that. I never realized that. That's what a photographer does. Bring up to people, things that are... Most people go through the day without even seeing anything. They'll drive and there's an incredible sunset. Completely blows, they're oblivious to it. As a photographer, maybe that's sort of what we need to do. Show everybody the beauty that they may not be seeing. Any questions so far? Barbara, have I made another mistake? The camera is an instrument that teaches people... Oh, that's it. I repeated myself. I believe in living with a camera and not using the camera. That is... I tell you, we all have a camera, which is our phones, but it's not quite the same thing. But it will do in a pinch. But normally we don't think about photographs every day, or I don't. I may read an article, but I'm not thinking, I got to take a photograph today. I tried that, take a photo every day for a year. Oh my God, that is difficult. But But I have to say, during the time that I did it, it changed the way during that time, because I'm back to my old ways. It changed the way you're looking at everything. I am driving and it's like, I gotta see, let me see, what am I looking? Oh, that looks like a great photo, but I'm gonna get killed if I stop there. But all of a sudden, you're driving and you're constantly seeing your surroundings and seeing what would make a photograph, what will not. So, try it. You probably will fail doing this, okay? It is an incredible, difficult thing to do, a photo, for most people. I know people that's not an issue, but for most people, taking a photograph every day, and it does not have to be an artistic shot. It doesn't have to be a great photograph. Just something that you like. It does not have to be perfect. If you're constantly looking for a photo, it changes the way you see things. I think I got there a little side tangent on that one. Photography takes an instant out of time, altering life by holding it still. That's true. We freeze time when we take a picture. Think of like, actually I wish I had to, I actually took some pictures with a new film camera of my street, because it's being completely redone, and it means cutting down trees. I mean, it was like a jungle going to my house. They have chopped down trees, grinded down everything on this medium. I took photographs of that. You're freezing time. We do that. War correspondence. You know, if it wasn't for photographs, I mean, a drawing, it's like it could be anything. I mean, not to minimize a drawing, but a photograph, I mean, you feel it, you sense it, the suffering, what people go through, or the beauty. Like Ansel Adam, we were talking earlier, at that time, many people were not, you know, didn't see Half Dome, and then you're seeing this photograph, you're taken there, you know. It's a wonderful thing, photography. You know, nowadays we can alter it to God's, you know, but in general, it's a great thing. I think all my decisions right along, even working in the field when I was doing documentary work, have been instinctive, and I trust my instinct. They haven't led me astray. It's when I made up my mind to be efficient that is when I have gone wrong. And again, I really love her comments. We sometimes overthink it. You know, go with your guts. Take some photographs. First of all, nowadays, it's digital. It doesn't cost, except for the initial cost of your equipment. You can fire away to God's green earth. It's not going to cost you any more money. Okay? So if you feel the instinct of taking a photo, take a photo. You know? You may be surprised later on that you may like it. So you may hate it at one point and like it at another. I went through some of my old photos. Oh my God, did I hate them. But it's just like, and I thought that was good? Jeez. But it's a good memory of where you've been and where you're going. You know, as for for photographs being easy and free now, I got myself a 120 film 6x9 centimeter camera. There's a negative's about 6 times the size of a 35 millimeter. Every shot, and I did the math, so I wasn't sure that I wasn't exaggerating. The film, processing, and digitizing, $5 every shot. You want to see me think about a photo? I have 8 shots on that film, and it's a test roll. I have taken 4 shots, and I'm thinking of what are the other 4 going to be. In a way, it's very interesting, because the reverse of being instinctual, it's like, this costs me money. I better think about it. Give it a little bit more thought. So you can get both sides. The digital, be instinctive and just fire away, and then you can be methodical and checking constantly to make sure you have that perfect image. Okay? Okay. Any questions? Any opinions of Dorothea? Thank God I haven't called her Dorothy yet. Okay. White Angel Breadline. That's the name of the photograph. You know, I mean, I couldn't imagine being that person. I feel for them. I mean, the pure emotion. And it's in a way, if you think about it, okay, everybody has turned the back on him. You know, I mean, there's more to it than just a photograph of a man with a cup. He's alone. Nobody's looking out for him. It's stunning. It's, again, in a way, it's an ugly part of life, but in a way, it transcends into some beauty, or in my opinion. Okay? And this is another photograph of her, ditched, stalled, and stranded. Now, the funny thing about this photo is that it appeared in the newspapers both ways. And you see the angle from below up. So some are shown this way, and then this is known as the crop version. So even then, time of film, you could crop it, make more than one pictures out of one of your photographs. You know, maybe you need to look at your photographs and say, maybe there's two photos here. You know? And the title, I mean, by the way, there is an importance also in titling your photograph. If you're going to show them, the name of it matters a lot. I'm hoping I'm in the thing and I'm not cutting myself off. Ditched, stalled, and stranded. It tells you everything. Where you're looking, you know, what are these people going through? White Angel Breadline. That's the name of the breadline, but it tells you exactly what's going on. It fills you in on what it is. Now, migrant mother, Nipomo, California. It's her most famous photograph. It's just heartbreaking. It really is. Those children. Now, something interesting, and God. See, the problem is they've been edited very well. In this photograph, there's a thumb on the side. Okay? A thumb. I want to say it's, okay, let me turn around. I believe it's here, but I'm not 100% sure. Okay? I've seen other photographs that actually you can see the faint outline of that thumb. So people that say if you Photoshop, it's not a real photograph, this is film. And she dodged it and burned it, so you cannot see that thumb because that thumb bothered her, period. It's a distraction. And nobody ever knows. I mean, if you go look for it when, you know, where there's actual images that are trying to show the thumb, it's there. Or a hand. Thumb, man. I see a thumb, but it could be a hand. But again, incredible work. Incredible work. And then here we have a photograph of members of the Moshida family awaiting evacuation. And I don't know if you're aware of what was going on here. Okay? During World War II, Asian Americans, because these are Americans, okay, were considered a threat to the country because of Japan involvement during World War II. So everybody that was of Asian descent, looked different than the rest of us, were gathered up. They lost everything. He was a farmer. He had a farm. He lost everything and put in a detainment center. I forgot the actual. Hopefully I wrote it, but I don't think I did. Where he stayed until the end of the war, and then at the end was given, if I'm not mistaken, I was going to double check my facts, but they were given basically $79 to restart their lives. Back in let me see, because I may have written all this stuff down, and nope, I did not. I guess I wanted to say it by memory. In 1990 something, in that era, the U.S. government decided that they were wrong, and we were given, I forgot how many thousands of dollars per member. Huh? 25,000 per person. Now, I don't know. Okay, they did something, but how can that? First of all, half of them are probably dead. Okay, you lose everything, and then 40 years later, here's $25,000 for all the suffering we caused you. And it was wrong. It was wrong. At least they were all tagged, so they wouldn't separate each other. That's why the reason that they're wearing all these little tags is so the children do not get separated from the parents. Okay? And she always worried about the human condition. Like she said at the beginning, she wants to show this. There's a lot of people suffering, and it needs to be seen. Because unless you see it, it doesn't happen. Any questions so far? Yes?
Yeah, I don't know if you know, you didn't mention that she was contracted by the government to go to and photograph the migrant mother, that era.
Yes.
What do you call the Depression. And
yes.
She worked all that. That photo was staged right there. She took about maybe 15, 20 pictures of that mother with the kids.
I don't know if you would say stage.
Yes, it was. It was. I mean, she positioned.
Okay, posed. Okay, stage is a very different connotation to it.
Okay, no, but she made the kids pose in different ways, and there were dogs running around, and she was camping along the road when she took that picture. And she was driving by when she stopped, and that is probably her most famous picture that she ever took.
Yeah, it is. Definitely is. And I don't know if it's, again, I've done so much. I wrote so little because I wanted to talk about it instead of just reading it from the screen. And I think it's Nan Goldin that she was talking about that expressions, human expression, the face, is universal. No matter from what country, no matter what your ethnicity, sad, happy, it's a universal language. Our expressions are understood by all humans. And so that's the, and I think it was Nan, but we'll see if I wrote it down or not. Okay? So, incredible woman. Incredible photographer. Okay? Nan Goldin. Okay. Born September 12, 1953, Washington, D.C. Movement, documentary photography, queer art, and identity politics, LGBT artist. Where I pulled this from, it mentioned a lot of LGBT stuff. I don't know, I mean, she did, but she did a lot more than just that. Okay? Nan Goldin is a contemporary American photographer who became famous in the 1980s for her gritty, intimate, often chaotic images of friends, lovers, and herself. Okay? Nan Goldin has changed the nature of art and documentary photography by taking her camera everywhere. She goes and shooting intimate photographs of otherwise invisible underground movements in her community. Goldin predominantly photographed people living lives considered by many to be improper or illegitimate. Okay, and let me give the book to, because I don't think she saw these. Here, these are Nan Goldin's work. Some of the books I own. Okay. I'll be honest. When I was introduced to Nan Goldin's work, I didn't care for it. I just couldn't associate with it. I didn't like it. The more I looked at it, the more I liked. And actually, I love her work. Okay? It is out there. It's pushing the boundary. Okay? But I guess it took a while for it to grow on me. Okay? Okay, although Goldin is famous for gritty, in-the-moment photographs, a lot of her portraits, particularly self-portrait, are carefully composed. In other words, when you're looking at that book and you looked at a lot of these photos and they all looked haphazard, unplanned, they were not. She did these photographs on purpose. This one, Nan Goldin's expression as she gazed at her lover is an uneasy one that makes the image difficult to look at. Instead of admiration, kindness, softness, Goldin's face is one of longing, distrust, and weariness. And it also changes the position because normally, oh my God, I just remember. Okay. Normally at this time, there was male semi-clothes or nude was not the form. It was basically an art is about naked women. Okay? And for a while, women's work in museums did not appear. Okay? Now, I'm going to talk about the Gorilla Girls. Okay? The Gorilla Girls is a group of women, very influential women, from here, South Florida. And actually, I think I know one. She won't confess. Nobody knows who the Gorilla Girls were. Okay? I only know one that has been, there are many people that have said that she's one of them. I did confront her with it, and all she said, maybe. The thing is, she's a petite little thing. There was the Gorilla Girls. Oh, first of all, they went with gorilla mask on. That's why they were Gorilla Girls, and they will actually protest at museums, saying the only way a woman gets into this museum is if she's naked, and they would run naked in there, and they have masks, and it's an incredible movement. But the Gorilla Girls were basically saying the only way a woman gets in if you're naked, because women artists don't count. And this is recent. This is not, like ages ago. This is recent. And you could see her face, which by the way, I've seen this photograph, and until recently I didn't really notice her expression, her gaze. It's almost fearful. Okay? And this is a self-portrait. My desire is to preserve the sense of people's lives, to endow them with the strength and beauty I see in them. I want the people in my pictures to stare back. Okay? I knew from a very early age that what I saw on TV had nothing to do with real life. So I wanted to make a record of real life that included having a camera with me at all times. You see this predominant theme of having a camera with us at all times. And these great photographers made it a choice to have it with them. Okay? And capture the moment. Good or bad. And I was saying earlier, before the meeting, it's really hard for me, she was saying it's really hard for me to do commercial work because people kind of want me to do a Nan Goldin. They don't understand that it's not about a style or a look or setup. It's about an emotional obsession and empathy. So she feels for these people. I used to think that I could never lose anyone. This one is a killer. I used to think that I could never lose anybody if I photographed them enough. In fact, my pictures, I mistyped, my pictures show me how much I've lost. And that is a poignant saying. It's like we photograph so we never lose them, but at the end is all the people we lost.
But do you really use those pictures?
Huh? You have the pictures, but it's a remembrance. It's a bittersweet. There's a bittersweet. Okay. This is Nan Goldin, self-portrait. I want it to be about every man and every relationship and the potential of violence in every relationship. Okay? And she was a victim of an abusive relationship. And she photographed that relationship. This is her after a beating. Okay? She wants to be seen and challenges you to see her as both a victim and a survivor of domestic violence. Okay? That takes a lot. I mean, I could not imagine, because I've never been in a situation like that where I've been beaten by the person I love and have to take it, you know? And I don't think I would want anybody to know. So for her to say, not only did she take the picture, she dressed up for it. You know, I'm not going to let this get me down. Women perspective. I seriously doubt that any man would have a series of work on them being beaten by their wives, which it does happen, okay? I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but you would never see that. Later in her career, she starts fooling around a little bit with the landscape. And here, later in her career, this photograph demonstrates Goldin's ability to maintain her personality, touch, while expanding, both conceptually and formally, the look of her photographs. So here you see there's remember these are low quality photos, okay guys? So you have the mountains in the background, the woman in the water, open mouth, breast, all reflecting the same imagery of the landscape in the back. And yes, she, if you look at her work, it's life. There's naked men, naked women, in intimate situations, in abusive situations, in joyful situations. It's life. Sometimes very ugly. Here we have some of her moving into doing some of the outside the domestic realm and into nature. So this is her foray into landscape, urban photograph. And it is her style. You know, maybe not to your liking, may not be even to my liking. But there's something there more than just a skyline. Now, what do you think? I mean, do you see her work as artistic, or do you just consider it garbage or incorrect? I know some people already say that, but I'm pushing. I want people to think, you know.
Looks like she's experimenting with a wide-angle lens for the first time.
Yes. And I'll be honest with you, if that wasn't a Nan Goldin, it would be an amateur photo out the window. Okay? I'm not going to be, I'm being blunt about it. Yeah. If I have pictures like that. In fact, I've actually seen pictures in that book. It says I have similar photos that actually, in my case, and probably that's why I like her, that's, I like the photo. But it's not perfect, and it's not this. And this is where we roll it back. Artist. She considered, remember with Julia, I consider myself an artist. And I think you need to stick by your guns. You cannot be wishy-washy about that stuff. Matter of fact, I have met a lot of artists, and I can tell you, none of them are like, I don't know if my work is good, I don't know this or that. They're all, internally they may have those issues, but when it comes to the public, it's art. You don't understand it? You're a fool. That is art because I say so. Okay? And you need that bravado. Okay? Does not make you good. But if you don't have the bravado and you have excellent work, you're not going to get very far. Okay? You know, you need to push it. Then, and I do actually like this. This is the one of the, this is later on. The one on the right is an older photograph Goldin took with the image on the left, a photograph she took of a painting in the Louvre. Now, she did a whole series of them. In the smaller book in the back, you have all of the diptych that she did. When she first did this, okay, the Louvre was not happy. They were like, hell no, you're not going in there photographing our work of art and prophetizing from it. If you think about it, because that's what she's doing. She's taking these paintings, taking a photograph, combining it with one of her photographs. Well, they're both her photographs. One is of a painting, which, by the way, I absolutely hate photographing art and then selling it as a photograph. If you're photographing art, is it your art or are you just documenting a piece of work. In this case, she transcended it, and there's a lot of photos. So she's like my inspiration, my interpretation. By the way, things changed with the Louvre because they had a showing, and it was so popular that then they invited her to, like, sure, why not? Come in, take some photos.
So when did that happen? 2000s or was this early?
No, it was prior to that. Prior to the. I gotta check. What's on that book? What date is that on the book? Because that book is the little one. So I would at least put me in a reference point of where it was done. But it was later in her life. She's still alive. I'm acting like she's dead. She's still alive. No. In the front of the book, when the book was published. That would give me at least, they had to be published after she took the photos.
This is the date of
Printing?
no, dedicated to somebody.
Okay, what day was that?
2014.
2014? So maybe it was the early 2000s. Let's just say that for,
Weird. No ICM number.
you know. Actually, what's it?
There's no information about those pictures when she took.
Yeah, and the way that I spell it, I will never get it in time. But we can find out. I can post that later. Here, Barbara, do it for me.
What?
Do the search, please.
Nan Goldin?
Diptych, and I don't know how to spell that properly.
Okay, in the 1990s, 95, 90 something.
My first thing was I had it right the first time.
That's when she took those pictures.
Okay,
I checked one and it's 95.
I talk too much. I talk too quickly, I think. So, any questions? None? What do you think? Does it pushes your idea of what photography is or where it came from?
Yeah, I would say yeah.
You know, did you know about, well, most people know about Dorothea Lang, but
I didn't know the other two.
you didn't know the other two.
You told me who you were going to talk about.
Yeah,
Of course, I had to look it up to get their pictures to put on the website, and I did a little research. But yeah, that's cool.
You see, and there's so many, and I don't know why women are attracted to photography as an art form. I mean, there's a lot of them. I mean, it's just, I just picked 3, but it appeals to them, huh? Well, I haven't gotten there yet. Okay.
It was advertised as 4.
Yeah. Okay. Gerda Taro. Has anybody ever heard of her? Here. Shut up, you don't count. I know you're the only one here that knows of her.
Who?
Gerda.
Who knows of her?
Rolando.
Oh, okay.
Gerda was born 1910, died 1937. 27 years old. She's a war photographer. Died during the Spanish Civil War. Okay. Oh yeah. Yeah. She was taking photographs. She jumped onto the running board of a Jeep and collided with a tank. There's talk that really isn't what happened, that she was murdered. So there's but most likely probably she got hit by a tank. Okay. First woman war photographer to die in the field. Yeah, we don't know her. We really don't. It's just sad. Because real name was Gerda Taro. I don't know how to pronounce that. Okay? But that's her real name. And she shaped the career of Andre Friedman. Incredibly well known. You all know him.
I don't know her.
Yes, you do. Okay? Guess what his name that you know him as? Robert Capa. Robert Capa.
Don't know him either.
Oh, yes, you do. World War II photographer.
What is his name?
You've seen his photographs.
You all think I know something more than I do, and I don't.
Okay. Robert Capa is known for all of his World War II photographs. Okay? There's been some controversy about his work. Still spectacular. Now, he and Robert Capa and Gerda were lovers. Okay? She basically groomed him. He was barely making ends meet. The proverbial woman behind the man, Gerda. She told him how to dress, how to talk, how to behave. She sold his photographs because she was working with photography at the time, but she was not a photographer. Now, I have read, I don't know how much truth there is, but a lot of the early work of Robert Capa was also her photographs. They worked together. Okay? Robert Capa, which really was both of them, they came up with a name. The reason that he's not known as Andre Friedman is because of the anti-Semitic times that they were in. So they invented, and they give her credit for this. Some people say it was together, but she created this whole story. Multi-millionaire from America, taking photographs, and he's incredible, yada yada, and demanded $150 for a photograph. Hey, we can't even sell them for $50 now. Our stuff, $150. So he made a lot of money. They made a lot of money together. Okay. Now what happened here? Andre was madly in love with Gerda. Okay. I don't think she felt quite the same way. Andre proposed to her. She said no. And the splitting of the ways. Could they have gone back together again if she hadn't died at the age of 27? Never know. Never know. But the funny thing is that Robert Capa, which is very, very well known, and Gerda, nobody knows anything about it. These are some of her photographs. They were really tiny, so I expanded them. But she definitely was there. And I do have a book, great reading, very well written. I'll mark the book if anybody wants to read it. It talks about Robert Capa and her, that relationship, the time, and what was created and what was done. You know. So, what did you think? Did you enjoy the talk?
Yeah.
Yes, no?
I want to learn more.
You want to learn more? That's the idea.
That's it? This is the end?
Yeah, this is the end. I should leave you hungry for more.
You did?
You know? Go and look and find out more about these women photographers. I will recommend a book later on, which is it's a book. It's really short. 50 photographers that you should know. Okay? And the other one is, damn it. The website that I got a lot of this information, it's an art organization, and they have an amazing amount of information on all these artists. You can do a search and find it.
You are home, you can assemble all this?
I'll assemble it and put it in there, exactly. But there's just so many out there, so many great photographers, and, you know, unless you're at the, you know, famous. Because it doesn't have to be great. You just have to be famous, you know. You're not going to get noticed. You're not going to get recognition.
That museum you mentioned in Wynwood.
The one that's open now, or the one that's going to open in the future?
No, I guess the one that's open now.
Yeah.
Has photography.
That is the Margulies collection. Okay, Margulies collection is in like the warehouse district downtown. Anybody remember the old times, all guys, do y'all remember Austin Burke, where you used to buy suits?
Right, still there.
Okay, it's a couple blocks from Austin Burke's. Okay, the Margulies is a incredibly wealthy family in South Florida. Anybody that went to FIU in the old days and saw all the art that was out there and all those statues, that would all belong to him. He got upset at FIU and took it all back. Okay, he works with a charity called Lotus House. Okay, which is for battered and abused women. Go back a little bit to Nan Goldin again. And it's a donation to Lotus House to go into his warehouse, which is a museum. His collection of art is second to none. I have gone to a lot of private museums with very wealthy people. They all have their niche. Some are great. Nothing is as expansive, a large, incredible collection of so much art. Some pieces are as big as the auditorium over there. Okay?
What auditorium?
Where we used to do as big as that room. And I will describe it. It's basically like a stocking material with spices in there, and they hang from the ceiling. So there's these globules. Now you've got to remember, it's a massive space, and you're walking through this and you're smelling cinnamon and allspice and all these other spices, and they're staining the fabric also. It's an extremely expensive work of art, and you need money to even show it. You know, not only that, but as you were saying, there's some that it's actually like an elevator. He doesn't have it all the time working. And there's one that you go up the stairs, and it's a skyline mirror thing that he paid for, and it's built in the warehouse. But where we were going at, he has an huge collection of photographs. Okay, so many. He changed it. Now there's an area where there's like hallways, and it's from the floor to the top of the ceilings of photographs. And that's not all. You walk past them, and then you have this hallway and like sliding walls that pull out. Okay? Each of those walls have photographs on either side. Now you're not allowed to pull them. You need to contact somebody that's working there, and they will pull them out so you can look at the photographs. I want to go during Art Week, and we can hit a lot of them. There's basically, some are easier to get to than other. The Margulies collection, because it's just second to none. The Dela Cruz, their collection is, it doesn't compare to the Margulies. Very concentrated on Spanish or Hispanic artists, but they have other things. But they really treat you well. Okay, it's near Wynwood. They provide valet parking for free, because parking is such a pain that they valet park for you, and they provide you with snacks. They will provide you with wine or coffee. They have coffee bars with treats and everything, so they treat you nicely. And they also have, I have a blast going there, and the art is incredible too. And it's their...
Are we invited or?
No, you can just go in. They have hours during Art Week where they, and I'm on their mailing list, and they occasionally have speakers. They used to have more speakers. I think what's happened is, last time I went there, the mother, the matriarch, God, I got that right. The matriarch of the family, she was incredibly ill. And I've seen her from old, but to the last time she couldn't even get up from the chair. So I have a feeling that she passed away. I haven't bothered checking. And her family's, trying to do their best, but I don't think they have the passion. And of course, the pandemic happened. COVID happened, and that put an end to everything. So hopefully this year there may be some speakers that get invited. Very interesting. I mean, there's some amazing works, young artists, and it's always fun because then they have dim sum. I love food. Mix food and art. You can't complain, And then you have the Rubel collection. And Rubel, his brother owned Studio 54. Okay? They used to have a little place that they showed, and they actually built a museum in Alapata. That is, it has a bar, it has a restaurant, it has a cafeteria. The art that they have is stunning, incredible, thought-provoking. There's warnings if you go into certain sections. You may be offended.
By what?
Nudity, sexual acts, basically mannequins that are performing sexual acts with each other. It's always fun when somebody, because it's, where they did it is that you go to a turn and then it appears there. So last time I was there was a bunch of college women behind me, and as soon as they saw this, they all started cracking up. I thought it was hilarious, but so I was like, the shock. I had seen it already multiple times. It's a major piece. They also have, and I'm making a sell for going there and seeing this work. They have a couple of areas that when I went to originally was free, and now they wanted money to go in there. And I think it's because it got so popular that they're like, if we charge money, it's going to stop people from doing it. And I worked at the cruise industry in Royal Caribbean with their Johnny Rockets restaurant. Got so popular nobody could eat, and there was a bunch of complaints. We added a surcharge. You want to eat at Johnny Rockets? There's a surcharge. Brought it down and allowed more people, and we made money.
I went there when I was on that.
So on these chambers, they're mirrored chambers. You have to wear little stockings on your feet, okay? And you go in there, they close the door, and you're like 30 seconds in there. And one of them is like just surrounded by stars. Everywhere you look is just stars. And the other one is a mirrored with mirrored balls all over the place. I'll be honest with you, I wanted to stay there a lot longer, especially the star one. It was like, oh, wow, I can just stay here for a long time. And then it's like, okay, get out. Next group.
So when is this all happening?
Normally around the first, last week of November, first week of December. It's strange this year. It always was the first week of December.
What days? Is it weekdays, weekends?
It's open through the weekends, the whole week. So it should be a weekend thing. We can do Saturday. I would suggest if we can carpool together, would be better. Especially if we can get to the Perez. You all familiar with the Perez Art Museum in downtown Miami? Okay. Perez Art Museum, downtown Miami. I go there. I have my beef with them right now, but whatever. I have beef with everybody. Okay. But Perez himself wasn't happy with what they were doing, so he decided to open his warehouse where he stored his art, because these people are so wealthy. They have warehouses to store their art. They don't have room in their homes. They rotate stuff, So he decided half of the warehouse he stores it, and the other half he displays it. There's at the time I went, there's a little bar area that wasn't operational. He's new to the game of doing this, and the art community is that he has more money than knowledge on art. Okay, so a lot of the criticism he got with the Perez Art Museum that there were great pieces of art, but they were not top tier. What he donated wasn't top tier. Art was second tier. Like if you were going to the Metropolitan Museum of Art, some of his work would just be stored in the in the basement as a documentary stuff that you want to look at and you want to see other people's early work. They would not be on display because they have better stuff from that same artist. Regardless, he was just not happy what they were doing, so he opened up his place, which is Place 25, something like that. I looked this up before. You got to call to make sure that they're open in the Nalapata. Again, just a couple of blocks from the Rubels. He hired somebody to curate the work because it was spectacular. Last year, I don't know if it's going to be there this year, was on African art. Not the African art like traditional African art. It is African art by African artists, and it involves all styles of art. Okay? It was impressive. It was impressive. And it's very nicely designed. You walk in and you think that you're not going to see everything, but you're really on a path through the whole thing. By the time you finish, you're back at the entrance. I was like very impressed. Not easy to do that. The other one we can go is the Perez Art Museum. The nice thing about going to the Perez Art Museum is, A, it's open all the time, and we can go there, we can combine it with street photography. There's the park is next door. There's architectural photography. We can make a trip there, and it's a whole day thing, you know, and we can have a lot of fun. And I would like to propose that we do that. They got restaurants everywhere. The art museum actually has a restaurant, and then they open another little cafe outside. You know, and it's right there by the ocean. You know, hey, the ocean's nice. All right. So look up Gerda. And by the way, again, you can tell that she didn't like using her own name or Robert Cameron.
I don't blame her.
You know. You know, and Kappa, by the way, is supposed to be his nickname as a kid. It's supposed to mean shark.
What?
Shark.
Shark?
Yeah. So what I've read doesn't make it the truth, okay? Because a lot of the stuff people embellish. But from my understanding, Kappa was his nickname for shark when he was a kid. Okay? All right? Yep, that's it. Thank you very much for listening to me. Kind of short.